What's up, everybody? Today we're doing a portfolio update video. It's been about a month since the last one, and since then the account has continued to hit new all-time highs. And today I just want to talk about how the account's been performing, maybe go into some news on specific positions. So a little bit more of a chill video today, and if you're interested in hearing more about the overall strategy in the account, check out the first portfolio update video because that's where I dive a lot further into the overall strategy. If you're new to the channel, my name is Sheldon and I make completely transparent videos talking about how I invest in the stock market. So if you're interested in building your own portfolio, check out some of the other videos on my channel and subscribe, and let's go on this crazy journey of investing together. Also, I want to mention that you should not go out and buy stocks just because you see them in this video or just because I have them. The intended purpose of this video is to show you guys what my mentality is when it comes to investing and how I think about my positions in my account, not just to give you stocks to go buy. As an investor, you should do your own due diligence because that's what's actually going to make you a successful investor in the long term. With that being said, let's hop into my portfolio, and I believe the last update video I had about $61,000 in the account, and that was about a month ago. So since then, we're up around $6,000 or $7,000, give or take, and I haven't actually contributed a thing to the account in the last month, so that's been all capital gains, and that's been all because certain stocks are hitting new all-time highs here, left and right in the account here, and that is mainly attributed to Palantir, but I want to start, I guess, just by talking about the VOO position. So VOO, if you don't know, is an S&P 500 tracking ETF, and that thing has continued to hit new all-time highs in the accounts. It's just kind of been, a standout year in the stock market. Like VOO, I have the chart here to pull up year to date. Like, look at this year to date chart in the VOO for the stock market. It's up 21% year to date. Typically we get around 8% in the stock market a year. So to have something that tracks the S&P 500 be up 21% year to date and just hitting new all-time highs really recently, like last week, it's been a really good year for the stock market, and that has obviously, driven up a lot of things in my account. But a large reason that the account has been going up is due to Palantir, and I am now currently up 423% on Palantir, which is pretty crazy. I got a good cost basis of $8.31, and I have 160 shares. So I'm up around $5,600 USD in the account. And, there has been a lot of news around Palantir. Recently, they did announce that they're going to be joining the S&P 500, which is huge. I think it was year to date around September 6th, I think is when they announced it. So at September 6th, they were trading at $30. So since then, the stock price has gone up $13, and whatever percentage that is, but that's pretty good. And the market cap, it's now almost $100 billion, but since they announced in September 6th, the market cap was $67 billion, and now it's $97 billion. So, that's a $30 billion change just in the last, month since they announced that they're going to be trading as a part of the S&P 500. And, a large reason that companies really, it's good to be a shareholder of a business that joins the S&P 500 is because a lot of the tracking mutual funds and ETFs like VOO, they're now rebalancing all their portfolios to track all the new companies that come into the S&P 500. And so all these big mutual funds are now buying shares of Palantir because they have to rebalance to match the S&P 500. And that has resulted in a $30 billion increase in their market cap, which is pretty crazy in just, a month. So that's pretty nuts. I think also recently they made an investment into an EV company, so they're trying to diversify a little bit. If we look at their PE ratio, this is this is a little scary, I'm not going to lie, for me to have a 256 price to earnings ratio. That's really high. Palantir is currently trading at a very high multiple of its earnings. Their earnings come out October 31st of this month, so in a few weeks we're going to see Palantir earnings. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to be surprised if the stock actually drops back down into the 30s. I think it has gotten pretty inflated at these levels. They might hit some crazy earnings numbers and, continue to push pressure on the stock to go up. Because Palantir really is the company that commands a price-to-earnings ratio that high, considering the growth rate of their revenues and their user base. It's been nuts. They're putting up like 100% growth points across the board on lots of different metrics. So they've been scaling rapidly, and it's been very good, to say the least, to be a shareholder since before they joined the S&P to now where they're at currently. And I don't plan on selling the shares. I don't plan on buying any more. Honestly, at this price level, I don't know if I would even recommend a lot of people get into Palantir at the current price level, because it's really inflated. And I do think there's a high chance that the stock could drop in the future. Not by much, but, it'll go up and down. I do think that it might hit back into the 30s, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to watch for those earnings, and, maybe I'll make a video on them. I don't know, or talk about them in the next portfolio update video. But to move on, let's talk about Meta here. I'm currently sitting up around 132% on Meta. They also have recently hit a new all-time high. I have their stock chart up here as well. They went over 600 for the first time. Meta is over 600 officially, or hit that. It came back down a little bit. But Meta has continued to be a beast as well. Zuckerberg, I think, came out and announced some augmented reality glasses that they're working on. Meta is just a profit machine. It really is a business profit machine. Like, if you look at if we go to statistics here, it's I think it's a $1.5 trillion market cap. Yeah, so it's a $1.5 trillion company with a 34% profit margin. That's insane. Like, you do not see that very often. You don't even see 34% profit margins that often, let alone on a $1.5 trillion company. And, if we look at their revenues, they've continued to grow revenues. So I'm not selling Meta. I'm keeping these Meta shares for sure. I think they're, one of the most innovative companies in the world. They hire some of the most talented developers in the world. PE ratio is only 30 right now as well, so it's not even trading at an incredibly rich value, like, especially when you compare that to something like Palantir. So I'm going to continue to hold Meta. Nothing crazy has happened with Meta lately. I think the stock market's just been doing well, and when the underlying stock market does well, that really pushes up these big tech companies like Meta. And Palantir definitely catches that tailwind as well. So yeah, not selling Meta. Just kind of chilling with that in my portfolio. It's hit a new all-time high. To move on to Apple stock, Apple has also continued to hit new all-time highs. I got 14 shares at 143 average cost basis, and it's sitting at 227 right now, so up around 60% on Apple. They announced that they're going to be releasing a new iPhone soon, so that, alongside all of their AI or Apple intelligence buzz and hype in the market right now, Apple has done pretty well. If we pull up their chart year to date, up 18% year to date. They are a $3.5 trillion market cap company, which is absolutely insane. That is, like, I don't even know what percentage of the US GDP that is, but Apple is a massive company. They're an extremely established brand. Most people have Apple products. I think most people that have Apple products are going to continue to buy Apple products. I know at least I am. And, so I think, their revenue has been shaky. I believe in last year, was it? Yeah, full year 2023. So they did $383 billion in revenue in 2023 and 394 in 2022. So they did drop around 10 billion. I'm definitely going to be paying attention to their earnings, which is on October 31st. And I think, is that the same? Meta is October 30th. Palantir is 31st. Wow. Okay, so that's going to be a crazy 2 days. Palantir, Meta, and Apple are all releasing earnings. So I'm going to be reading a lot of those earning releases and paying attention to the market then. Right on Halloween, we'll see what happens, because that's going to be a little crazy. So that's been Apple. Not too much has happened with Apple. Just, typical things like releasing a new iPhone, pretty much what we expect. Google, to move on, Google has not been hitting new all-time highs, I can tell you that. I'm pretty sure that they have actually been going down. I guess just to summarize my position, 18 shares at a $103 cost basis. They're currently trading at 164, so I'm still up around 60%, similar to my Apple position. But, I mean, if you're thinking of getting in to Google, this could be not a bad time to do it. They hit an all-time high at around 93.31, and it's currently sitting at 164. I believe it's mainly been due to some fears about the government breaking Google up, which, I really don't think, or I don't see the government stepping in and really breaking it up. It is a story that I have to continue to pay attention to because obviously I'm a shareholder. And it is a risk. I in my Google video that I made, I did say that is a big risk with a lot of these big tech companies, having the government step in and break them up. And clearly that is a risk that got reflected in the stock price of Google recently. But honestly, I think it could be a good time to get into Google. I'm not telling you to go buy Google shares, but if you do your own research and you're interested in the company and you believe in it for the long term and you do a lot of your due diligence, could be a good time to buy because it's dipped a lot. Year to date, it's still up 18%, which is still really good. Has just been a straight up standout year in the stock market, which is unreal. But yeah, not touching Google, not touching Apple either. Not going to buy, sell any of those shares. Like I said in my last update video, I'm in school right now, so I don't actually have really any money to contribute into the account, unfortunately. But to move on, Nike is one of my only stocks that I'm down on. Nike and Lemonade. But, Nike, I really built out this position, and I'm comfortable with where I'm sitting with Nike. 36 shares at, unfortunately, I got in at $90 right before it crashed down. I think it hit like 71. Nike just announced a new CEO, so we'll give him a couple quarters to see if he can turn, their revenue numbers back, because I think they had like 1% revenue growth, if not negative, or they were forecasting really bad in their last earnings report, so they took a huge hit recently. I don't think they've hit an all-time high since like over 2 years ago. But, I honestly really like Nike. I think it's going to be probably $100 stock within a year, 2 years. So I really did build out that position a lot, and I'm holding that. I'm not going to sell those shares. I'm just sitting on them. We'll see what happens with their earnings reports and with the new CEO. Caterpillar, I'm really happy, actually, that I have Caterpillar in my account now. They've had a really good year. They are also hitting new all-time highs. I think they went 403 recently, so pulled back, just under $1. And I'm going to make a full video going in depth on Caterpillar and my full bullish thesis. So I'm not going to talk about it much here. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be my next video. But Caterpillar is just such an established brand. It's kind of similar to Apple in that respect that, in order for somebody to start a company that is a competitor to Caterpillar, that the barrier to entry there is just so high. Like, you're not going to start a company like Caterpillar in your basement and then all of a sudden you're beating them in a year. It's just a massive infrastructure play, and it's an essential business for, society to operate and expand and build. So I'll go further into my bullish thesis there in the next video. But already up. I have 7 shares. I got in at $335 and it's already over 400. So I'm currently up around 22%. I did start buying that this year over the summer. So we'll see where Caterpillar shakes out in the portfolio, but definitely going to make a full video on that one. And pretty much the last stock that I want to touch on here is MDA, because damn, I wish that I bought more MDA. I got 74 shares at 11.11, and it's already pretty much doubled. It's up 90%. And I think I said in my last update video that I was interested in buying more, but I didn't, unfortunately, because it's such a small position, right? Like, it's only a $1,500 Canadian position. And this is the only Canadian line in this whole portfolio. Everything else you see is in USD. So this is a really small position compared to some of my other ones. It's a really cool company, though. It's a space technology company. You know, they build space electronics, like robotics. They do a lot of satellite imaging. And they're pretty small still, like only a $2.54 billion company. You know, their valuation has continued to go higher and higher. There hasn't even been that much news regarding MDA that has come out. And now they're currently trading at like a 55 PE ratio. But just look at this 1-year stock chart. I mean, that is a thing of beauty. That's gorgeous. But if there is more news that comes out, I would love to make an in-depth video on MDA. I think I put it in, you know, my top 3 growth stock video, because I wanted to build out this position, and I wish I did it earlier now, obviously. But if it pulls back a little bit, I'm definitely interested in building out MDA. And on the year, it's like up 72%. I believe they're growing revenues pretty nicely. Let's look here. So yeah, they had 21% revenue growth in 2021, 34 2022, 25 2023. So we'll see where their revenue numbers shake out this year. Their earnings date is on November 8th, so that's coming up here. And, you know, it's been interesting that all these stocks have been hitting all-time highs, because we're kind of in the middle of earnings. Like, there hasn't been much earnings reports in the last couple weeks. And they're coming up, though, at the end of October, beginning of November. We're getting into earnings season. So, you know, that's pretty much all I wanted to update you on. That's obviously an all-time high. I think JP Morgan also has been hitting new all-time highs at 222. But it's been some pretty good growth in the account over the last month. That's really everything that I wanted to go over in today's video, just some of the bigger news items for my account. I'm thinking I'm probably going to start to make these portfolio update videos a little bit more frequently, so let me know if there's anything that you want me to touch on, or if there's any specific stocks you want me to talk about a little bit more. If you got any value out of the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. As always, I wish you the best of luck on your investment journey. Peace.